Hello again, Bat fans! In this video we will check out the first meeting between Jason Todd and Dick Grayson. This story is one of my favorite Batman comics of all time. Batman 416 is a wonderful comic book that you need to read to get the experience firsthand. Seriously, there's a link in the description where you can buy the digital comic and read it. I highly suggest that you read the story first and then come back to listen what I have to say about it. And also let me know what you think of this story. Anyway, let's check out this iconic moment in the history of Batman. One night in Gotham, Jason Todd goes alone as Robin to follow a drug dealer back to the coke lab where the drugs are produced. Robin spies on the criminals from a skylight in the roof of the building, but he is careless and he is attacked by one of the thugs who was guarding the place. Robin falls through the skylight into the lab, where he is surrounded by criminals. Robin finds himself in serious trouble, but Nightwing drops out of nowhere to save Robin. The criminals realize that Nightwing can give them trouble and they explain that they are doing nothing wrong and that Robin is to blame for trespassing into their property. Shockingly, Nightwing agrees and he takes Robin with him after paying the damage to the skylight. Once the heroes are safe on the street, Robin gets mad because Nightwing allowed the drug dealers to go unpunished. Nightwing then explains that he had to do it, because what the thugs said was true. They were doing nothing wrong. The laboratory was ready to produce drugs, but the raw materials were not there. They didn't have any evidence against the criminals. Nightwing explains that he had also been following the thugs, and that the drugs would arrive the next night. But now that Robin blew it up, the criminals are most likely to change the laboratory. Nightwing is angry and before leaving, he tells Robin that he will go to the cave to talk with Bruce. Robin is shocked because Nightwing apparently knows the truth about Batman. Later, Jason tells Bruce what happened and he finally learns that Nightwing is in fact Dick Grayson, the first Robin. Jason is worried that Dick may want to return to his rightful position, but Bruce knows better. The next morning, Jason leaves Wayne Manor to go to school, and Nightwing arrives to the Batcave. He is greeted by Alfred, who tells him that Bruce is waiting for him in the trophy room. Nightwing finds Batman, but the Dark Knight shows himself cold and distant. After taking his mask off, Dick Grayson explains that he wants to talk about their situation and their past. Batman is reluctant to talk about that, but Dick reminds him of the 6 years they spent together as the dynamic duo. Dick reminds Bruce of how their names became legendary in the streets of Gotham until that day when the Joker shot Dick and Bruce decided to end his career as Robin. That was one of the hardest moments in Dick's life, and he explains that after that, he decided to leave Wayne Manor permanently. The worst part was that Bruce didn't even show up to say goodbye. Dick went to college to figure out what to do with his life, but he dropped out after the first semester. He then traveled around the world, solving cases as Robin. It was around this time that he met the Teen Titans and became part of their team. Soon, he knew it was time to get himself a new identity and he became Nightwing. As the leader of the Titans, Dick found a new purpose and happiness in life. However, the unsolved business with Batman came back to haunt him when he learned about the new Robin from the newspapers. After telling Batman his story, Dick finally asks how come the man who couldn't stand having a 19-year-old sidekick has gotten a new, younger partner. The answer doesn't come easy. At Dick's request, Batman takes off his mask and tells him that he ended his career as Robin because he had learned all he could and it was time for him to step out on his own. This makes Dick angry because for that reason Bruce destroyed the only life Dick ever knew. Dick then asks again why the new Robin. This time, Bruce explains to Dick the situation with Jason and how he was living on the streets. He explains that Jason was full of anger and frustrations, and that all of it reminded Bruce of himself when he was young. Bruce explains that he took Jason as his new sidekick to channel the bad energies into something good and to probably save his life. But Dick calls bullshit. He knows Bruce too well to buy that story. After a few seconds of silence, Bruce replies that he understood that Batman needs a Robin because he can't fight crime alone. But still, Dick doesn't buy it, and this time Bruce gets mad. Angry, Bruce finally admits the truth. He tells Dick that he was lonely and that he missed him. The truth comes as a surprise, but before Dick could say anything else, Bruce asked him to leave. With one final goodbye, Dick Grayson leaves the Batcave without looking back. That night, Nightwing is waiting close to the new drug laboratory when Jason shows up alone again. Nightwing knew Jason would find the criminals again and he was prepared to meet him. Nightwing then gives Robin the original uniform of the Boy Wonder, officially passing the torch to the new Robin. Nightwing also gives Jason his phone number in case he needs to talk, as he has more experience and is more willing to talk than Bruce. After that, Nightwing works with the new Boy Wonder and together they capture the drug dealers, this time with all the evidence they need. The heroes realize they make a great team, and after capturing the criminals, they shake hands in a friendly way. While from the shadows in the distance, Batman is watching them with a smile on his face. After all that's happened, he is grateful for having Dick Grayson in his life. That was mind-blowing. I have no words to describe how amazing this story is. There are just so many layers of greatness to the whole story. The writing and characterization by Jim Starlin was sublime, and it was only matched by the art of Jim Aparo. In general, it was outstanding. The plot is perfect. It's a genius way to make the first meeting between Nightwing and Robin. And even though they are the main characters, Batman plays an important role too. Even Alfred is relevant to some degree. So let's go ahead and analyze each of the characters and their portrayal, and let's start with Batman. Jim Starlin exposes the Dark Knight and forces him to admit the truth of why he allowed Jason to become the new Robin. We get to see Bruce Wayne's most vulnerable and human side, like never before. Batman is struggling with Jason. He feels angry with Nightwing, but in the end he is actually happy that he has someone as Dick in his life. On the other hand, Alfred was not just the butler. In just a few panels he showed understanding and love for each member of the Bat family. He supported Dick when he left home for college, giving him money, and when Nightwing showed up in the Batcave, Alfred told him to go easy on Bruce, as he is just human. And that is exactly the whole point of the story. Although Batman is a perfect crime fighter and detective, he still has many flaws, especially when it comes to personal relations. Nightwing was also a key character. Jim Starlin made this story almost as a tribute to Dick Grayson's career as Robin. We get to see how much Dick loved being the Boy Wonder and how his world fell apart after Batman took that away from him. Dick then had to rebuild his confidence and he was born again as Nightwing. But Jim Starlin also used Nightwing to address some interesting issues. Here, the conflicting story about Jason Todd's origin is finally exposed when Nightwing demands an answer from the man who was supposed to be done with sidekicks. That was the issue that I and many other fans had about the new origin of Jason, and this story solves that conflict just perfectly. By giving Batman full responsibility of the decisions and his lack of experience with people, we finally understand the reasoning behind the new Boy Wonder. This is what Max Allan Collins failed to do, and what Jim Starlin fixed in just one story. But while Batman, Nightwing and even Alfred play an important role in the story, I can't help but feel that Jason is pretty much ignored, or at the very least misused. In fact, I get the feeling that Jim Starlin actually hated Jason Todd. And I don't say this just because Starlin is the writer of that other story, but also because throughout this issue we get enough hints about that. Take for example the dialogue that Starlin used for Batman when the Dark Knight was thinking about Jason. In the opening sequence of the story, Batman thinks that Jason is nowhere near as good as he thinks he is. We analyzed this in our previous video and came to the conclusion that Jason was not precisely a good Robin. So basically, Starlin was just pointing out something that was obvious to everyone else. Batman continues and thinks, Robin was so pleased with his discovery that he got careless. And after that line, Batman foreshadows the worst moment in Jason's life. In this business, you don't usually live long enough to realize your mistakes. The penalties for fouling up are high. That's why only the best survive. Batman then ends the thought with the following sentence: "I've been trying to keep Jason alive, but he doesn't make it very easy." And all these while Jason made a big mistake with the drug dealers. So basically, Starling was telling and showing us that Robin was just not good enough and that he was always on the edge of getting himself killed. You can see why I think he hated Jason. While the story elevates Batman as a human and shows Nightwing as a hero with a legacy, it just drags Jason across the dirt. Sure, in the end Jason redeems himself by helping Nightwing, but even then, Batman is grateful for Dick Grayson and doesn't even give a thought for Jason. We can see where all this was going, and we understand now a bit more of why things ended so badly for Jason. But that moment is still far ahead, and in the meantime we have to check more Batman comics in the same order as they were published. And that means that in the next episode, we will check out the first appearance of a mysterious criminal called Scarface and his trusted henchman, the Ventriloquist. So remember to subscribe, leave a like if you enjoyed this story, and come back for the next episode. Until then, Godspeed, my friends.